Hey everyone, Greg Meskel here. Thanks for joining us on another episode of The Counterattack right here on Overnight. Another busy week. I say it every week, but it's true. Another busy week of water polo. We've got ODP Girls National Championships to look at. Huge college showdown between USC and Stanford. We'll look ahead to some other big events. We'll talk with Ethan Damato, who was out in Salt Lake City for the Girls ODP National Championships. He'll give us a good breakdown of that event and the whole pipeline process. But first, we've got to start with the news from the National League. You might have had your mind blown a few weeks back when Dennis Varga joined forces with LA Athletic Club, but wait, they're not done. They bring on one of the all-time greats, a lethal lefty, Filipovic, joining forces with Varga on LA Athletic Club. Look at his resume here. Two-time Olympic gold medalist, four-time overall Olympic medalist, world champ, European champs, won everything. And then what do you do if you're trying to defend LA Athletic Club at the end of this month out at Mount Sac? How do you stop these guys together, Varga and Filipovic? Their shots equally lethal, both ridiculous. The highlights are aplenty, and just major props to the crew at LA Athletic Club, working very hard to bring some star power from outside the United States. Don't forget there's a lot of talented guys that are competing in the National League from the U.S., from clubs and colleges, but LAAC, like you see in so many other sports, going abroad to bring in some big-time talent. So, again, props to these guys for helping take National League to the next level. It's a lot of hard work to try and bring in some of these big names, and we're excited to see these two, amongst many other stars, cap up at the end of the month at the National League Championship. Don't forget live coverage of the National League Championship from Mount Sac right here on Overnight. Two pools of action going on Saturday and Sunday at that beautiful Mount Sac Aquatics facility. Can't wait to get out there and to see all the stars in play. It's going to be a great weekend of water polo. So from an event coming up to one that happened this past weekend, we jump into college water polo major showdown. USC taking on Stanford. Was this a preview of the national championship? Perhaps it was a barn burner. Pick it up early here. This one scoreless, not anymore. The Cardinal going in front 1-0. Now 3-1. Trojans chipping away. Good option. Tilly Kearns, the Olympian, down low. Tilly, the catch, just strength personified. Steps out, fires and hits. Moving right along as Tilly keeping the Trojans in the mix, 4-2. Let's make it 5-2, courtesy of another Olympian, Jenna Flynn, a true sharpshooter, hitting from the outside. So the Cardinal built a nice little lead early in this one, in this first half. Again, USC working their way back. Look at this passing onto the post. That striker to Emily Osmus, another Olympian. You're sensing a theme here. Osmus, slam dunk. She's having an insane freshman year and keeping the Trojans in it and then looking for more. 5-3, pass it out, put it in, make it 5-4 here in the first half. Stanford now here in the third, up 6-4. And look at the passing here once again. Just drop it in the bucket and then a power move on the inside. Ryan Nuschel, the backhand. On the other end we go now. Again, USC chasing the game throughout the afternoon. Morgan Netherton is going to take care of the ball here. Loose ball, go and get it. Netherton had a huge day against Cal the other week and able to convert here a big piece of their offense. 7-6 now. Looking for the equalizer. Go inside, and they've got it. That's Osmus to Tilly Kearns. What a 1-2 punch these two have become. The newcomer with the veteran, and we are tied at 7. Speaking of newcomers now, 8-7 Stanford turned to Alma Yacobi, the freshman from Israel, able to hit and leveling the score once more. Back and forth we go in this one. 8-8 now. Trojans with the lead. That's Osmus. The first lead of the day for the women of Troy. Make it 9-8. And again, just steps up, measures twice, cuts once. Emily Osmus does not miss from there. Now on to Stanford. Her Team USA teammate. Cardinal down 1. Give it to Jenna Flynn. Can't leave her alone on the near side. Jenna can be a problem. Flynn drills that shot. We're tied at 9. She's fired up. As we go back and forth continually here. 9-9 here. Getting late in the fourth quarter. Go inside and check out the backhand rip just past the keeper. That's Tilly. And that's 10-9. She's got a 4 on the day. Make it 5 for TK. Steps out and buries it, showing off the versatility, the range. Great on social media, great in the pool. Versatile Tilly Kearns. 11-10. Go to another Olympian. Ryan Neuschel comes calling for Stanford. 11-11. Able to hit here on the bounce. Now USC. Getting late here. Late fourth quarter. Under 25 seconds. Alma Jacobi. That would be your game winner, your go-ahead goal from the outside. How about these centers with versatility here? Last looks now for Stanford. Off-target defense does the job. It's a 12-11 win. USC comes all the way back to pick up the victory. Now let's go down to Tempe. Get your selfie in. It's San Jose State and Arizona State. Second half action here. Spartans leading. Home team Sun Devils chasing the game. Make it 8-7. Go the other way. How about that release from the Spartans off the pass? And so Arizona State again trying to climb out of the hole. Itzihar Almeida has been the go-to for many games in this season here for Arizona State. Makes it 10-8 there. We'll go back the other way. That's Cranley. More on her later. 11-8, courtesy of Cranley down low. And now Arizona State back on the offensive attack. It's that name again, Almeida. Looking from the outside, steps up and drills it. So bringing it back to 11-9. Can we see another big comeback here, just like USC Stanford? That one is good to go from Ani Pamp from the outside. Make it 11-10. Now 12-10. Spartans again still chasing. Pamp again. That's good. Make it a one-goal game. So now Arizona State down 12-11. They go back to Almeida cross cage. That's a money ball. 12-12. They have tied this thing up. One more push. Not so fast. The Spartans didn't come all the way down from San Jose to walk away empty-handed. That's Bridget Cranley's music, hitting on the backhand. And despite 5 from Almeida and a valiant second-half comeback, it's the Spartans celebrating on the road. They win it 13-12. What a victory there for San Jose State. Let's take a look at some other scores from around the country. UC Irvine, UC Santa Barbara, a couple of big West foes getting together, 13-11. Princeton and Harvard also often a preview of the Eastern Final. You're getting a little sense of the conference madness here. Tigers take that. Iona, Marist, and Mac play 14-13. And then Cal and Michigan, the Bears out in Indiana. They defeated the Hoosiers and then took down Michigan to make a nice little clean sweep there through the Midwest. And a couple of looks there at some key scores around the country. Also this past weekend, we've talked about elite men's club play. I've talked about college water polo. Now, what about the Olympic Development Program? Salt Lake City, Utah, the scene for the 2025 USA Water Polo ODP Girls National Championships. First time ever, the ODP Championships to the Beehive State, and a great showcase for the state of Utah from athletes all across the country. So we've talked about the game growing around the nation. Utah, one of those places. They've seen their passion for club water polo only increase, and to have an event like this, a true testament to their excitement for the game, as a variety of facilities around the Salt Lake City area played host. Again, athletes converging. This is a key part of the ODP pipeline. We'll hear more about this shortly from Ethan Damato. The journey through the Olympic Development Program, from your camps to your regionals, your evaluations, now to the national championships, and then the selections, which are out this week. And here are your top finishers. Shout out Central Red, winning the youth girls title. That's big for the Central Zone in the ODP ranks. An awesome result there as we see the rest of our medalists. All the results available, by the way, at usawaterpolo.org. You can check out results, top coach, top referee, your Nick Johnson Award winners, and, of course, your NTSC selections. Those are coming up very soon as we pick national teams for the rest of the year. Now let's hear from some of the athletes that were there in Salt Lake City and what they enjoyed about their experience at the ODP National Championships.
It was my first experience playing in ODP, so it was really cool, and I got to kind of experience a totally different way of competition. I've only really competed for Junior Olympics and on my home island, so this is a really good experience, and I'm really excited to play this weekend.
I feel happy. I feel happy that we get to play in an indoor pool and see how California takes it, but I feel like we brought a really good energy and communication, and I'm happy that I get to play with these girls. I'm playing against girls who are bigger, girls who are faster, girls different ranges, and that's just going to make me be able to adapt quicker. And also, when I see different teams playing different ways, using different plays, that I feel like that's going to increase my game IQ, and that's something I really want.
I enjoy playing water polo because not only my teammates, but coaches, and I love the water, and I love playing water polo.
I'm a goalie, and I've had a lot of fun getting better here. I've been working on being quicker and having shallower hands, and I think that's led me to getting a lot more blocks and steals and having a lot more fun because I'm doing better.
Yeah. I think the most important thing that I think we've learned together is to cheer everyone on, be more energized, because the energy you have emotionally, it transforms physically and in the pool and stuff like that. So, just high energy and make new friends.
And now time for our big conversation this week on the counterattack. ODP Girls National Championships just wrapping up in Salt Lake City. So who better to talk to than Ethan Damato, head girls ODP Academy coach. Ethan, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Greg.
I know busy time. We're talking now on Tuesday. Selections are coming to a close. They go live this week. But let's just reflect back on the weekend first. First time ever to Utah for the ODP Girls National Championship. What was the experience like from your vantage point?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, the people in Utah were great hosts. Shout out to Brad Piercy, who has helped us out and got us our pool locations, and all the people in Utah I thought did a great job. The pools were awesome. The weather was great. Got a little cold on Saturday, but overall was clear weather for us while we were there, and lots of water polo at I believe we had 5 different sites, 6 different courses going on. So a lot of water polo, a lot of fun for the weekend.
It's a big milestone on the ODP journey for athletes that starts back in the fall. For those that are in it, they're well versed. But if you're not that familiar, you've kind of only heard of ODP here and there. What's the journey? How does someone end up in Utah from where they started back in September, perhaps?
Yeah, that's great. Great question. So essentially we have ODP camps throughout the country in the fall and winter, as you mentioned. And from those camps, usually we have 2 to 3 kind of per zone across the country. And from those camps, athletes are identified to move on to some type of evaluation event. We have the regional championships that took place in Texas in January. Here in California, they do some regional evaluation camps. So we go from these large camps to then you're invited to this evaluation event where you have both zone coaches and national team staff evaluating. And then from there, they make their zone teams. And at those evaluation camps, they some zones have one team, some zones have multiple teams. But either way, from those main evaluation camps, that's how you get invited to the national championship event, which, as you said, is kind of the culminating event for all of the athletes in our ODP season. And a lot of work goes into being there from both the coaches and the athletes, and always a big event for us with ODP.
Now, you get to that event, and we post online about the results and who won first, second, third from different zones. And I know there were some exciting results from this past weekend as well. But outside of the games, what is an athlete aiming to accomplish from an evaluation standpoint? What are you and the staff looking for in those few days of competition?
Yeah, I think, we as national team staff, we try to speak to every team while we're there and talk a little bit about the evaluation process. We also just talk about the process in general. It's an incredible accomplishment, I think, to get there in itself. And you get kids from all over the place that are playing together on a team, usually for the first time. They may have had a practice or two together, but they're from all kinds of different clubs and high schools, and they get to mix together. They get to be a part of something special, and we encourage them to enjoy the process and have a lot of fun. Try to put the evaluations out of their mind to a certain extent and play water polo. If they're only there for, to be named to a national team, I think you miss out on getting to play with and against some of the best players in the country. You miss out maybe on all the friends and the journey of the process. So try to encourage them to embrace that process in itself, beyond the selections. When it comes to selections, we have national team staff at every pool that are there and communicating with our zone head coaches that are there working with the teams and talking to the staff, watching every game. There's always a coach watching every game throughout the weekend, a national team coach. And we're looking for all kinds of things. Sometimes it's by position, looking for those that do the little things really well, whether it's hustling to get steals or making the extra pass. Always looking for people that can score, for sure. And really just, for those that are there, we encourage them to go for it. And if you're going to make mistakes going hard and trying to put yourself out there. And I think ultimately that's what we're looking for, people that are being aggressive and going for it, regardless of kind of what their role is, trying to do their role the best and go for it while they're there.
I always imagine it to be like the war room of the NFL draft or something, where people are trying to make their case for somebody. Like, hey, I saw this person at this pool. We got to take a look at him, or maybe you've seen him in the past. How challenging is that process to whittle down everybody's feedback and get it to a place where you have to end up making some really hard choices?
Yeah, it's very difficult. And like we said earlier, these are the best of the best across the country. And we get one weekend to watch them, five games. I think throughout the journey, we try to take notes at all of the evaluation events and try to use it as a full process and not just one weekend when we're evaluating. We have help from the zone head coaches before the event even starts, trying to get an idea of players to watch and get an idea of who they feel like are people that could stand out. But then you never know when you get there who's going to have a great weekend. So as you said, we're watching. Saturday night's always a crazy night of going through kind of who stood out on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday just more watching. Maybe people now are popping out and sticking out on Sunday that you didn't notice on Saturday. And yeah, so I think Sunday night, Monday is a lot of conversations going on and really splitting hairs. There's just so many great players out there, and I definitely congratulate all that were a part of it, whether they were selected or not. It's always a difficult process for the coaches to make these decisions.
And you've heard this before, and I know it can be frustrating for some if people that they're fans of don't make it, and there's a vibe sometimes. These guys already know, they got the whole thing sketched out. They've picked all the teams we're just going to have 3 days of water polo. Talking to you and so many other coaches, this is like why you guys are here. You love this process of trying to maybe find someone that you didn't know about or seeing someone develop. So I'm sure you've heard that anecdotally yourself, but isn't there a great passion to try and uncover that person maybe you didn't know about?
100%. 100%. And I think that's, even we get kids at the youth level, right, that have been in our program for 4 or 5 years. So you tend to know those athletes better. But every year, even at that level, there's someone that stands out in this event or stood out this year. And you get really excited about their potential and what they can do. And we're always looking for new athletes and want to have an opportunity for people to jump into the process, whether they're in 11th or 12th grade for their first time competing in it, or they're, in 7th grade, 6th grade as 12, 13-year-old girls at their first time. So of course we want to be educated going into the event and use all of the camps and the evaluation events to make a proper decision. But by no means do we have it figured out. I wish it was that easy. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun going through it, and it's stressful. But as you said, it's exciting. It's an exciting opportunity and time to find these players and looking for the bright stars of the future.
One of the big results from the weekend, I believe, was Youth Division Central Zone showing out in a major way, and that was a highlight that had a lot of people's eyebrows raised.
Yeah, I happened to be there on Sunday for both of their games. They were actually losing late in the game in the semifinal against the Pacific Zone, who was also an incredibly talented group. You get to that level, all four teams in the semis are really talented and loaded with people going on to play at the collegiate level and national team players, and semifinals were really awesome. I think, like I said, Central was down most of the game, tied it late, won in overtime. So even just to get to the final, they had a tough road to get there, and then they just came out hot against SOPAC in the final, and we're winning most of the game. SOPAC actually took the lead by 2, I believe, in the fourth quarter, and then Central battled back again and got a goal with under a minute left, got a 6-on-5 stop or 5-on-6 stop with about 10 seconds left. So they earned it. They played so passionate and so hard throughout the weekend. It was just a lot of fun to watch that group.
That's
Coaches
awesome
jumped
to
in
hear.
the water.
It's like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they jumped in the water. They were all
Did
fired
they?
up. Oh, yeah, I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah.
They were excited. It was awesome.
You talked a bit about the kind of the journey and what else you can get from this. I think, look, Olympic is in the name, so people hear about ODP and they think, well, I don't think I can be an Olympian, or maybe that's not my hopes or my dreams. College coaches use these events as a major evaluation tool. We know the numbers. It's a tiny percentage of people in life that will become Olympians at anything, let alone water polo. What are all the other benefits? You've coached national team, elite club, elite high school, have been around some great athletes. What else do you get out of this if Olympics aren't in your future?
Yeah, as you said, I mean, that's such a tiny group and a tiny percentage of the athletes that will make it to the very end of this process. Even if the very end this year is the youth team or the cadet team, and that's, such a small percent of the kids that are there. I think it's great to be around other people that are passionate about the sport, and other people that love the sport and want to be better and want to be great. You wouldn't be doing ODP and spending extra weekends playing if you didn't have a passion and want to be great. So just being around like-minded people and having an opportunity to play against the best, play with the best, that's always going to make you better. That's always going to make you a better player. As you mentioned, I think it's an incredible recruiting tool. So we had college coaches from all over the country that were there this weekend. We had college coaches, I'm sure, watching it throughout the weekend as well. And, I forgot to shout out Sean Stringham. He was at the Olympus pool filming the entire time and helping us set up there and doing a great job with all of that. Yeah, I think there's a recruiting aspect. These are things that you can put on your resume. You get to get coached by somebody different. And I think one of the great things is just learning more about the way that our national team system plays, and getting a little bit of a different set of skills, set of tactics, about the way that we do things with the national team. And so I think there's a ton of benefits beyond making the team. And we try to encourage the athletes throughout the process, whether we're at a zone camp, we're at the evaluation regional events. This weekend, I mean, we're echoing those sentiments throughout the weekend of all the benefits that this brings far beyond the selection process.
So now picks are in from this past weekend. What's the journey the rest of the way? Because as you hit on, maybe for this year, for some, it's just making the youth team, but there's still a kind of a gauntlet to travel here, even if you are selected to go on to the next step, to get down to that travel group that might go to Europe or somewhere in the Americas. There's still a process there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had about 50 to 60 at the cadet and youth age groups that will be selected for national team selection camp, and about 70 for the development level. Again, for the national team selection camp, those take place. Cadets are going to be in April. We have a Pan American event in May that we're going to be selecting from that camp. And then the development and youth groups will be in May. As you mentioned, those are, you go from this giant group that we had this weekend and all these teams, and now we've got, 50 to 70 of the best athletes at their respective age groups out of camp. We have a 3-day camp in Southern California where all the athletes will stay together at hotel. That'll be led by our national team coaches at the youth, cadet, and development level. From that camp, we have what we call like our June national team camp, where typically we select anywhere from 20 to 30 to come back. So it just kind of keeps getting a little bit smaller. And then from that June camp, we typically select our travel team, which will be anywhere from 13 to 15 on non world championship years. Sometimes it'll be 16 or 17. This year is a little bit unique. We have a Pan American game tournament. It's a youth qualification tournament going on in Medellin, Colombia in May 19th through the 26th. So our cadet age groups are going a little bit earlier, and we kind of have to get to that selection process a little sooner than we normally do. And we're going to have to pick a group for that following the cadet national team selection camp. And then we'll go back to the top 30 again and whittle down and continue to grow as a group. This is a junior world championship year. So for our ODP groups, there's no world championships at cadet or youth. But that's kind of what we're gearing towards, is a year from now, or I should say about 14, 15 months from now. Youth world championships, the summer of 2026, cadet world championships, the summer of 26. So that's kind of the long journey for these teams.
For the folks that have worked really hard, they participate, but they don't get selected. I imagine these are difficult times for them. They've put a lot of time and effort in. In some instances, they age out, right? If they're at the high end of kind of the age grouping. But for anyone else who still has eligibility, what are some of the messages that you and other coaches kind of share with these folks, things that maybe they can leave with on a positive note, or perhaps try and come back again next year?
Yeah, I think, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Hopefully they found some value in the process and met some new friends and met some great new coaches along the way. But every year is a start of a new year. And I think that a new ODP season, I should say. And for those that didn't make it this year, we definitely encourage them to come back. It's easier every time that you do it. I think you learn a little bit more. You gain more confidence going through the process. If it was your first time in the process, I'm sure just the first camp was incredibly nerve-wracking, let alone your first national championship event. So I think it gets a little bit easier as you go through the process. And I think things, the dynamics of the group change. Like you said, people age out, people don't come back. So in my experience, those that continue through the process and stay the course in this journey get a lot of value out of it. And I think it's a great way to just get some more water polo. At the end of the day, I think when we get to the youth level, the majority of our athletes have aspirations of playing at the collegiate level. And if that's something that you would like to do, or these girls would like to do, more water polo is always going to help. And I think ODP can be a tool and an asset in that for them along their journey to get there.
Really, really good information there on the ODP system. We're talking with Ethan Damato coming off the girls' national championships in Salt Lake City. Before we go, I gotta throw it back to your prior days as a high school coach. We're talking about the chance to be around elite athletes. You had the chance to coach some legends in their high school days. You've been out of it now a little bit from Laguna. When you kind of think back on some of the runs that program went on, I imagine when you're in it, it's hard to kind of like step back and see what is so amazing. But as you're reflecting now, how do you process what went on there, the Fishers and the rest of the crew that you had?
Yeah, it was kind of first of all, I feel so lucky that I was a part of it. I was there at the right time, and there was a lot. It was an amazing run. I think we went on. My first year in 2009, I actually had Annika Dries. That was my first year as the head coach. I had Annika Dries. Gold
what a
medalist.
Gift to show up.
Yeah, exactly. I was lucky enough to know Annika as a 12 and under, and be kind of a tiny part of her growth. But from that time on, to have 3 Olympians in in a small high school program. When we started, we had 13 girls in our program, and I think we finished, around 30 when I left, something like that. But we are a school of less than 1,000, around 1,000 on a good year. So to be able to compete at the Division I or open levels now they call it, year in and year out I just thought was pretty special for our sport. And the fact that we had 3 Olympians come through, and from 2009 to 2022 was my last season, was pretty amazing. So much credit goes to Eric Fisher, who coached his daughters growing up, and some of those age group coaches that came along the way. I just did my best not to screw it up, to be honest with you, with some of those teams with all that talent. But I grew up in Laguna Beach, so I was incredibly proud to represent the community throughout those times. And it is such a special community still to me to this day. And I hold those memories fondly in my heart, and love the community, and such a special time for us. And just feel super lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, it has to. I mean, feel a little bit like coaching an all-star team in some respects when you have that level of talent. Obviously, there were many players that came through the program. I have to think, was there a time or two where you saw, whether it was an Annika or a Fish and Aria do something where you're like in a bit of disbelief that even happened? Like, how is this happening in a high school game? They're this talented?
Yeah, every day. Every day. I mean, it was so fun and so cool to be around them. And I think something that was so cool that came out of it, it just raised the level of everybody that was around them. Right. And so, the expectations to perform and compete, it was just a really fun environment to be in. And, like you said, you had people that were just awing you on a daily basis, and sometimes it was them, and sometimes it was the people that are around them. I mean, I think the amount of college athletes that are playing right now or ended up coming out of that program is something I'm really proud of, and I think a lot of it had to do with the talent, but also the parents and the buy-in of the community was really cool.
Yeah, no, there's no shortage. We're talking about 3 Olympians, but a steady pipeline to the college game every year out of that high school. Ethan, lots of good information here. Appreciate you taking some time on what I know is a busy week, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Appreciate all you do.
Once again, big thanks to Ethan Damato for taking some time to talk with us this week. It is a hectic time following the national championships to get all those selections in, so appreciate him carving out some time here for the counterattack. Also, don't forget all those selections available at usawaterpolo.org. Big congratulations to all the athletes chosen. It is a long journey to get there, and a testament to all their hard work truly paying off. Excited to see what comes for those athletes here in the future, not just in the national team area, but also back at their clubs, their high schools, and of course, potentially the next level in the collegiate game. Now let's talk Malmston goal of the week, and we swing it back out to Salt Lake City, Utah. We go to the development division, and this is the SOPAC red team, Danielle Koo, moving in and going to fade. Look at that lob. Put it up high and put it home. Danielle Koo, what a shot there. Our Malmston goal of the week. It's a beautiful delivery here. Gets away and then able to put some tremendous arc on that ball and drops it home. Don't forget to share some of your favorite plays, perhaps your goal of the week, your save of the week. You can send them in to USA Water Polo or Overnight via social media. Tag us or send us a direct message. Happy to share some plays that you're proud of right here on the show. Now let's talk about what's coming up. Again, the schedule, it is just getting busier. Coming up on Overnight, games you can watch right here on the platform. Good one. You just saw Arizona State. They almost came back to defeat San Jose State. Now they come to the Bay Area to take on the Cal Bears. That's this Saturday in Berkeley. And then next weekend, Arizona State back on the road at USC. A little Fresno State APU action. And then Hawaii making a trip to the mainland. They'll take on UCLA. You can catch all those right here on Overnight. And there's more. National League Championship. As we told you, the big combo, Filipovic, Varga, catch them April 26, 27 out of Walnut, California. Again, if you can't be there, certainly watch. But if you can be there, show up. Free admission at Mount Sac Aquatics Complex. We'll talk more about the National League Championship as we get closer to that event. It's going to be a great one. And then, of course, some of the college championships. And then some other events that you want to mark on your calendar. Mountain Madness headed to Boise. The Women's Division III National Championship. Location to be announced, but it will be live right here on Overnight. And then the NCAA Women's Water Polo Championship out in Indy. That'll be live on a combo of NCAA.com and ESPNU, ESPN+. So a great month of May when we're talking about collegiate water polo as we crown champs in the women's game. But that is going to do it for this week's show. Thanks so much for joining us. And don't forget, when you're on the counterattack, look weak side.